And what we're going to say is we're going to go ahead and use what I've done in my labels here for my layers, where I created a level. It's going to go to 14 feet, right? And we're not going to get into this sort of more complex section yet because it's going to be a little more involved in creating maybe sections or so. But all you need to do, if you're going to create a space, say for instance we have a 10 feet by 10 feet level, and it's a floor maybe that comes down 12 inches. We'll go ahead and make that a group, and we come up 14 feet. The idea is that 14 feet is from the top to the second top, and you can see that as we look at the length in the bottom right of the corner. And so to get to that height, we need to have a reasonable size stair. So I sort of have done this sort of in the, just looking at the plan view, but obviously we want to see this maybe from a front view or so, right? So I have this view right here, and this is going to be the view that we are really starting with. And one of the things about SketchUp is that you are going to be sort of stuck into your plane that you use, okay? So always be mindful of that. So these things, I just went from one floor straight to the other floor, but just to be 1,000,000% safe, I'm going to go ahead and create a section box. So this class will be full of a lot of section boxes just to keep what we create within a particular range. And I'm going to do that section box of the floor, and I'm just going to call this section 1 simple stair. And the idea is when we're making stairs, we want to make sure, and you see that it's cutting here. And all we need to do is come back to front and maybe zoom in. And all we need to do is make sure that that's going to be the current section that's going to be applied, right? Because right now, you know, it's not being applied unless you see it. And so the idea is I'm going to go ahead and do front, and I'm going to go ahead and make sure to make the section planes visible. I'm going to make this the active cut, and I'm going to go ahead and zoom in and save this. And I'm going to go ahead and say that we're going to add. We're going to save as a new style, and this is going to be our building section. And it's a floor section, but that's just the nature of it, okay? And so the idea is we want to sort of do a little bit of a calculation. Like I put from this point to this point is 14 feet, right? And so if I don't really know exactly what the floor to floor is at the beginning, one of the things I'm doing, I'm using lines that are just really in the untag layer. I do recommend working on your base lines and the untag layer. And all I'm doing is going from this endpoint to the top endpoint and saying divide by what I think 14 times 12, which is pretty much 168, times maybe 20. What is that equaling? And it has to be under 7.5. And here it is 8 3/8. That's actually not a really compliant code. A good resource is going to be in the class where you can see what is needed for designing stairs. So I would update that maybe to 22. And again, you see that I'm pressing Control as I copy that stair. I'm going to divide it by 22. And it's showing in this little window here. And all we need to do is make sure we're checking from floor to floor. And it's 7 5/8. It's still a little bit tight, 7 3/4. We're gonna sort of do it just to keep it simple. But what we're gonna do is make this as our group, so it's as a reference resource, so we know how high something needs to be. So what I've done for this class is I've created already a base of the file, and this is going to be the working class file. And what I have here is I've imported the design for the architectural space, because obviously this course is not just on the design, so we're just trying to deal with the spec for designing a stair. And what we start on this course with is a very simple idea of a very base of 2 levels, 14 feet apart, and we need to connect those with stairs that are code compliant. And so the code compliant maximum that I have here is 7.5 feet, and so that's going to be our basis. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the levels that I have, and these are going to be in the file that you start with, and I'm going to go ahead, as well as this design of the architectural space for this stair to be built into. But we're going to go into the details of just stair design as we start. So I'm going to go ahead and save this one as the template 2-story in class. So it has a little bit separate from the base model, so you'll be starting in the same place that I started here.